All right, this is a quick tutorial on some of the other features in the edit window. So you have tracks, you have a tracks panel here, you have a groups panel here, and you have a regions panel here. Now in your version of Pro Tools, regions is called clips, okay? So the way your clip list works is this is a bin, say, collection of all the sound files that you're using for this session. Okay. So, you can, this is where you would go into, you know, to grab a sound to drag into your session that you want. But before you do that, you probably want to know what you're dragging in. Especially when you have like a voice track that you've cut up, you're just going to get a generic name here. Okay, so you want to hear what it is you're doing. So you can audition the tracks in your clips list right here by holding down the Option key. Option, hover over the sound you want, and then click and hold.
Well, John, I didn't think it was possible. But
Okay, so Option, click and hold, click and hold, click and hold. Okay.
Well, John, I didn't think it.
Okay, and then you know, okay, exactly what it is you're pulling into your session. Okay, that's the way that works there. You also have a menu here for selecting like what you want to show or how you want to sort these, but just leave it for now at the default. Okay. Now, the way the tracks window works is you also have a menu here. You can, go with a variety of viewing options. Just leave it with the default for now. The way this works to your advantage is it allows you to turn off the viewing aspect of tracks in your session without muting the tracks. So in other words, say like you cut all your voice tracks, you don't need to see them anymore because now you're working on your music and your sound effects. But there are like your music and sound effects are down here. You don't want to keep going scrolling down to get to see them, right? So turn off the voice tracks or the tracks you're finished working with. Turn off the view capability of those tracks. Okay. And then it neatens up your session. It brings into focus the tracks you want to work on. Okay. Your music and sound effects. But you'll still hear them. You'll still hear these tracks. You're going to want to cut the music and the sound effects against those tracks. All right. And then you can just put them back when you're ready to put them back. All right. Now, groups, the way groups works is that you take categories of sounds, like say all your voice tracks. Okay. If you're working on a music session, say all your drum tracks or all your guitars. Okay. But say in this session, we want to group all of our voice tracks. So the way I would do that is click on the first track in that category of tracks, voice tracks, and then go to the last track of the voice tracks, shift and click. Okay. And it'll select everything in between those two, right? So it selected all my voice tracks. Now I shall hit Command G, G for group, and it'll bring up this window. Okay. And this window says, okay, it gives me the option to name it. I'm just going to go VO or VOX voice tracks. Okay. I'm going to leave this with the default of edit and mix and leave everything that way also. There's other things you can do with this, but we're not going to do it right now. Okay, this is the default that you're going to use. Hit OK. Now, what that means is all of these tracks now are grouped. So if I select this segment here, it's going to make that same selection, the length of that segment, okay, the length of this segment, all the way down to the all the tracks in that group. Okay, this comes in handy when you have to move a bunch of tracks back to insert something. Okay, without changing the relationship between the voice tracks to each other. Okay. And the other advantage to this is that say I don't want to hear these tracks all of a sudden. I just want to hear the music and the sound effects. All I have to do is hit one of the tracks mute button and it mutes all the tracks. Okay. And that's pretty slick. All right. Just remember this is solo and mute. Okay. These are not stereo and mono. This is solo just to hear this one track and mute just to mute this one track, or in this case, since it's grouped, it's part of a group, it's going to mute all the tracks in that group. And that, oh, some other menus real quick. Okay, so remember, this is one of the most important menus in the beginning of session. Set this on time code. It's often in bars and beats. We don't work in bars and beats. We work in time code, okay? Select time code. Also set your nudge preferences to look at time code and one frame, okay? And the way that works is you highlight a track and then you nudge it. Now, since this is grouped, okay, I'm going to turn off the group by just simply selecting on it down here. Now these tracks are no longer grouped. If I want to just nudge this one track, I select it and then hit minus on the numeric keypad. That'll move it towards the head of the session, or plus on the numeric keypad, will move it towards the tail of the session, okay? Another important menu is this one right here. This will give you access to like your transport panel, okay? Sometimes you boot up your Pro Tools session, the transport panel's not showing. This is where you would select that, okay? And there's other options in there too. But let me bring the transport panel back. All right, now, the regions list, the tracks list, and the groups list all have their own little menus. You hardly ever need to go in there. They're basically sorting options. You're gonna leave those alone for now. The only other menu I want you to be keenly aware of is this menu right here. This allows you to select inserts. Okay, I spoke about that in the previous video. If your inserts window is not showing, this is where you get it to show. Okay, you go and select inserts, A to E. You can also add more inserts is another one, F to something else. Okay, so what else can you look at here? You can open up a comments panel, mic preamps, instruments. Okay, when you get into using instrument tracks later in the semester, you would open up that. Okay, but for now, the only three we're interested in is this will always open up with the track. This is the control panel, and your IO will always open up also, okay? And then you're gonna have to go in and open up the inserts. And that is that for the additional items, okay? All right, see you soon.